CW star, or Supergirl, as I'm dressed today. Here at Wizard World Comic Con Columbus, the Vampire Diaries star Ian Somerhalder stopped by for a live Q&A session with his fans. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I'm here and I love you guys. And the second this kicks in, we're gonna have a real conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on another awesome season of the Vampire Diaries.
Thank you.
The last final season is coming up. Is it bittersweet? Are you sad? How do you feel about it?
You know, the bittersweet component comes from the family, you know, oh, there we go. Can you hear me now, baby? It's the family component. We all know you work somewhere for a long time. It's the relationships. It's what's happened in just being an audience member of a television show. Think about this. I mean, listen, I'm not comparing myself to these guys. I'm not these guys yet. I will be one day, but Cary Grant or Paul Newman or Robert Redford or any of those guys, no one had this ability. This reaction, I mean, this interaction was never in existence until now, really. And it's quite interesting. It's not just about a television show. Hey, dude. It's not just a television show. It's the community of people you meet and the friends that you meet as a result of, you know, wasting your time on Thursdays watching this TV show. So it's not necessarily bittersweet, but I will say we are really grateful. Season 8, guys. I just started shooting this week, and it's already kicking my ass. Look at me. It's like, whoa. But you all kept this show on the air for this long. So it's your fault that I look like this. Can you guys hear me back there? Sweet. But you guys did this, so thank you. And to be really, really honest, it makes us feel good to be able to end this kind of on our terms. So rather than just a show fizzling out, losing engagement of the fans, with the network's like, wow, man, we're really gonna get rid of this Vampire Diaries shit. It's a good way to go, and it's a great sign-off. It's also great for our crew. They know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. It's not, you know, finishing 22 episodes and then people are going, wait, what are we doing? And like, am I going to come back to work? It's just, so just from an inside perspective, just so you guys know, it is really bittersweet, and it's really beautiful, the ability that you've given us to be on television for this long. It doesn't happen often. I don't know very many people that have been on television shows. This is definitely my longest relationship. 8 years of being married to this show, and luckily now a year of being married to my beautiful wife. And this, poor her, I've drug her through now 2 seasons of this show, and I'm gonna drag her through 1 more season of this show. I couldn't do it without her, but thank you guys, really.
TVD family. Well, before we kick it off to the fans, I wanted to ask, speaking of relationships, I had the opportunity to speak with, is that a dog?
Is that a puppy?
Yeah.
Well, big
puppy. Bring it up here. I had the opportunity to speak with the amazing Julie Pleck. She's like the fiercest.
I love my Julie.
And she was talking about at San Diego Comic-Con that the real relationship of the series is not really Elena and Damon or Elena and Steph or whoever. It's almost really Damon and Stefan and their relationship and how it progresses. Do you think did you anticipate that when you first started the show, that it would just be this journey of these brothers? And how do you want them to end up, and like what do you want them to learn from one another?
I mean, I think we can all sort of agree, and by the way, I say this in all humility. I mean, we're talking about story structure and really sort of what came to be. I mean, I can safely say, I think, Kevin Williamson and I talked about this initially, which, well, really, let me give you a 20-second backstory. Our first table read our supervising producer. So like a producer on set who directs a lot of stuff and makes sure that everything's running smoothly is this guy named Marco Siega. He's a genius. On our first table read, he sits down in the room, and it was so funny. He goes, "Welcome back, everybody. Congratulations. You know, we had shot the pilot. We got picked up. We're now going to series. We're all sitting in the room for our first table read." And he goes, "Welcome to Georgia, your new home. Welcome to Vampire Diaries, your new home." He said, "I just want you to recognize the name Vampire Diaries. It's not the Elena Diaries. It's not the Damon Diaries. It's not the Stefan Diaries. None of you are safe. We can kill you at the stroke of the key of a computer. Show up on time, do your work, be nice, have fun." And it's always been, this is a story of a town. This is a story of a group of people. But I think we can safely say that two of the big pillars of the show have been the brothers and their interaction with one another. And it's really this beautiful relationship of these two guys, and they sort of volley back and forth between good and evil. And it's sort of like a tangible metaphor for what happens in life, you know? They're good guys. They were just boys. And it's what happens to all of us. It's so crazy. Not to be too cerebral about it, and not to like freak out all the little ones in this room, but, you know, the world is in a really kind of gnarly place. I'm sure you guys all watch the news, and we all look on our Instagram and Twitter feeds and stuff. It's kind of scary out there. But I look at, and I've had this conversation with Julie many of nights over many glasses of wine, smoking cigars, like diving into the real deep sort of sociological component of this. And the funny thing is that in the 1860s, these two guys were just brothers. They were kids. And they turned into these, well, kind of monsters. And it's just sort of like, it's what we do. We all start out as these like little innocent, cool little creatures. And then we end up doing what we do. And it's just kind of interesting to sit back and say, how do we get to that place? And for any of you youngsters in this room, if you're looking at what's happening in the media right now, where humanity is, like where we really are and where we're going, it's scary. And I don't envy you for growing up in this time. So hopefully there's a shift, you know? Anyway, yes, sorry to like go on a cerebral tangent about it, but it always fascinates me how art imitates life, and then how life starts to imitate art. And I just want to bring this to everyone's attention. Since the beginning of time, we've all had these sort of morbid curiosities. We're human beings. But I live on a television show, and it's violent. It's super violent. And we laugh at it, and it's cool. But I just want to leave you with this little tidbit of information, because I'm just seeing it from this perspective where, you know, I can like rip someone's heart out in one scene, but we can't show like my naked hip. And I'm just curious, like, what are we teaching people? That violence is okay, and that intimacy or love or is not? So if you're tired of seeing violence on the news, and we're tired of people hurting each other, maybe it's time to sort of like look into what we really love in our programming. You know what I mean? It's just a thought. Because it's starting to freak me out a little.
So are you saying we're going to see more of your hip this season versus hearts ripped out?
My left hip is the star of season 8.
That's the left hip, then.
The right one would be season 9, but we didn't get season 9, so.
The hip could get a spin-off.
What'd you say, man?
The hip.
The hip spin-off.
Over here?
Tell me, brother. Sorry, man. I took, like, ate up half your time.
All right, to change the subject here.
Tell me, man.
All right. How do you get ready for, and what was it like to make out with James Van Der Beek in Rules of Attraction?
Rules of Attraction, man. That was an interesting 3 months of my life. Roger Avery's a genius. That movie was so much fun to make. And I love James Van Der Beek. The funny thing was, I don't know, a lot of you guys are really young. I did a movie many moons ago, many moons before the great rains, called The Rules of Attraction, and it's a pretty dark movie, but it's actually a lot of fun. And I had to kiss James Van Der Beek, who played Dawson, obviously on Dawson's Creek. I don't know if anyone's seen that show. And James was still on Dawson's Creek at the time, so he's like America's sweetheart. And we knew that we had a very interesting opportunity to disrupt the tides of pop culture at the time, and we really went for it. It was pretty funny. We had a couple conversations, and then drank like a warm 6-pack of Heineken and just made out like 3 times on camera with like 4 different angles, and it was a trip. It was a trip. James is awesome. We had so much fun, and you know, there are a lot of social barriers and inhibitions that you just sort of throw away, and you just realize we're human beings. You know, people could argue, are you making art, are you making commerce, or are you making whatever it is you're making? A lot of people love that film, and I learned a lot on that movie. And so if you're not like 12 and you want to see a really fun kind of twisted movie about college kids in this country, it's a fun little ride. It is dark and it's pretty gnarly, and there's some crazy stuff, but it's what happens in college. Again, humanity, man. We're a dark creature. We're a dark creature. Thanks, man. Thank you. I haven't thought of that in hours. What's up, dude?
What's your favorite thing to do in your free time is my question.
I have no free time, buddy. Man, I have a very beautiful, amazing wife and an incredible family and 10 animals. So Nikki and I find our free time in every given moment, whether it's making a cup of tea or going for a walk in the morning. I think between the two of us, our deal's not closed with Warner Brothers, but we have our production deal with Warner Brothers. And so between the two of us, we have 11 companies. Yes, me and that little human being have 11 corporations together. TV shows, movies, and the foundation, and 10 animals. 4 dogs, 3 cats, and 3 horses. So, you have a mom, and she'll tell you, you find free time, even like when you push the button in the elevator, it's like, wow man, I got 8 floors to just chill. So I find it anywhere, man. But I love hanging with my animals, and I love being with my wife and my family. And to be honest with you, even when I'm on set, like last night, it was 4 in the morning, and we're all exhausted. And it was some pretty morbid stuff we were shooting. Shocking. And I found myself I was lying on this table in what is the armory, you know, like the big museum of artifacts, with these like ancient African relics in between my legs, just passed out. And everyone was cracking jokes and making fun, and someone brought me a cup of tea, and someone was like feeding me cherries while I was laying down. I said, this is kind of like free time. This is nice. So you find it anywhere, man.
Thank you.
You're awesome. By the way, this kid has the best handshake in this room. He looked me right in the eye and he goes, sleeping pills, go. Get the kids to school. Oh, go on social media. Oh wait, I gotta get to the office. Like, I was reading this study. Well, I read the study. I was flying somewhere. Oh, what was his name? I can't remember his name, but he was the head of, I think, history. It was it history or American history department at Harvard. Not an idiot, this guy. And I was talking to him about just how our brains are bludgeoned, especially this new generation, with all the media and all this stuff. We are now exposed to, in 2016, so if you were Thomas Jefferson walking down the Potomac in 1781, we now are exposed to 4,400 times the amount of visual and audio stimuli than Thomas Jefferson was in 1781. 4,400 times a day more. Can you imagine those numbers? So like, we're just sort of like bombarded and our brains can't really keep up with it. So having a space to center yourself. If any of you really sort of suffer from feeling like you're always just spinning out of control, or someone like you drop your toothbrush and you start crying, it might mean that your cup's a little full. I always say that because I dropped my Sonicare toothbrush in the toilet last year and I literally started weeping. I was so my cup was full. And I use that analogy, the cup is full, because our bodies have a toxic border, meaning your body is so full of, whether it's chemicals or pesticides or allergens, whatever, you start having reactions. But when your mind and your brain, like, we have gym memberships, we go to the golf club, or we go to clubs to dance, we do all this stuff. My mother-in-law always says this, but what do you do for your mind? What do you do? We do all this stuff for our bodies and to make ourselves feel good, but what do we actually do to center ourselves? And if you want to check it out, Transcendental Meditation is the bomb.
Thank you very much.
So, thank you very much. No, tell me.
No, you go.
It's really bright in here, isn't it? I was hoping it was going to be a little more intimate, but I'll bring candles to the next one. What were you going to say?
I was going to ask you about, so your foundation, you're a massive environmentalist, animal rights activist, like ISF does so many wonderful things.
Oh, thank you. Again, because of you guys. Really.
Did you feel like, and I'm assuming this was always just a passion of yours, but did you feel this social responsibility with the platform that you have to really seize the moment and saying, I have a captive audience, like now's the time to really found, this organization?
Yeah, well, they're not captive. They're actually free. I do want to hug you all, though, because it really... Yes, the answer to that is a resounding yes, yes, yes. I mean, I do feel that people in my position... Actually, to be honest with you, every single one of us, I feel at this level, I think... Oh, there are my vitamins. I found them. I was so afraid going through security. I thought these people are going to think like, there's this actor guy, he's transporting all these drugs in his pocket. I think at this point, we have like a pretty fair social responsibility to try and use every medium of access to public that we have. I don't fault or judge anyone in my position who doesn't do anything, because life's about the pursuit of happiness, but we're just in such a bad spot right now as humans. So I do feel a social responsibility. Shit, it keeps me up at night. I feel such a social responsibility. And honestly, I think, not to sound like such a Debbie Downer, but it's all about uplifting people. It's about giving people hope. That's really what it's about. And our hope is these little guys. It's the next generation. So I think if we put our money and our time and our resources into educating them and giving them a great foundation, not literally just ISF, but a real foundation, then we have a chance. It's about instilling compassion, reverence, and gratitude in the next generation. Because with that will come innovation, with that will come everything. But, and I hate to say it, it's going to take putting down these devices that we've become so dependent on, you know? It's really wild. And it's not just the 12 and 14-year-olds, it's the adults as well. I really urge you, because I'm starting to my spidey senses are going off now, because you know that, particularly teenage depression, but you know teenage depression is higher than it's ever been in history, more than it was in World War II in France, which was a gnarly place to be. Why? We have more medicine, more technology, more food, more money than any other generation in history. So why are we so unhappy? Because we're now so dialed in to these devices that dictate our happiness. It's the weirdest thing. And this isn't me just being some conspiracy theorist. No, there's actually studies. When you post something on Instagram and the likes start coming, it triggers a dopamine response in your brain. It tells you, I'm happy. This makes me feel good. I feel validated. That is bad. That's bad. I mean, just maybe check yourself every now and then and just say, wait, I know that Somerhalder guy talks about a bunch of bullshit, but this actually might have some relevance. Just check yourself every now and then. Maybe if you don't get the kind of likes you thought you were going to get, does it ruin your morning? Does it make you feel bad about yourself? Just start putting yourself in check a little bit. It's that kind of stuff that I think if we can pull the young brains, the young people in our world right now out of being dependent on that and letting them know that their validation and their self-worth does not come from how many Twitter followers they have, then I think it opens the air back up, you know? Because we become like this. By the way, me too, man. I built a social media following that over the last 7 years, you guys have been so giving and loving with your time, but it was now I look at it and I think, what is it all for? If I can get information out there and maybe share a couple of cool photos or something, that's cool. But I just don't want this to become something in society that we look back in 25 years and go, wow, man, we ruined that generation. You know? Just something to think about.
From a female's perspective, I think to talk about Vampire Diaries and how that plays into that, I started watching the show 7 years ago. It was my last year in college, and I love how all the females on the show are really fierce. They become more fierce. Candace Acola's character in particular, she was just this bubbly, only cared about, being prom queen or whatever, and now she's an awesome mom, she's a fierce woman. So I think it's great that you've been able, the cast members have been able to kind of empower, at least from a female's perspective, that you don't have to be...
Our girls become badass. And make no mistake about it, a strong, powerful future means smart, empowered women. It's the bottom line. We know statistically, I'm grateful that you recognize that, and we know statistically that an educated, empowered woman in a household doubles the GDP of that household, whether you're in sub-Saharan Africa or you're in Columbus, Ohio. So if you double the GDP and the quality of life and the abilities of that family to do good in their community and in their own home, then you double the GDP of that town, and then that state, and then that country, that province, that continent, and it'll just spread. And I think that's something that really is, it's a huge priority of mine. And it's a huge priority of ISF. An empowered future means empowered, educated women. So,
Cheers to fierce females.
get on it, girls!
Speaking of fierce
Choose any other character to play on Vampire Diaries, who would you choose?
You know, it's funny, man. I just don't know. I just can't see myself. I couldn't imagine any of those other roles being anyone else. You know?
Yeah, and then
I mean, could you imagine Steve McQueen playing Damon? I'm joking. I love my McQueen.
And then the last one is, if you could choose to be on any other TV show, not vampire related, what TV show would you choose?
Man, there's some amazing television shows right now. There's so much out there. I would have loved to have been on a show like The Wire. I actually wouldn't have minded staying on Lost for a little while longer. That was an amazing journey. Mr. Robot's a great show. I would love to be on that show. I think they do an incredible job.
Okay.
One show I would not like to be on. Holy shit, did you guys see that OJ Made in America thing? Whoa, dude. Whew, that was an intense 10 hours of my life. Listen, now with Amazon and Hulu and Netflix and all these huge players coming in creating new shows, I think, like, the future is bright. This is the golden age of television. And, you know, Nikki and I just signed this incredible deal with Warner Brothers, or we're about to, and we're going to make, hopefully, more stuff that you guys love. And we may succeed and we may fail at times. Hopefully you'll just be supportive and kind of nod. Even if you don't like it, just leave it on for a little while. Flat screens don't suck up that much juice. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
You're awesome, man. Good luck with your studies. Study smart, not hard.
You were really a part of kind of the launch of Golden Age of television. I look at Lost as like the resurgence in television.
It changed that year.
Yeah. It was just, you know, you got to, even going online, like ABC.com had all these interactive experiences. Does anyone remember that, where you could like go, you know, what does the hatch do, you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff. It was,
Well, yeah, J.J. Abrams and Damon Lindelof and Brian Burke created, I remember when we were shooting Lost, they made a website. It was a forum. It was just called The Fuselage.
yes.
And all the characters had a login, and we could log in. And when people were online, they would see you and they would start asking you questions. And it was really the first, actually, it goes even farther back. I don't know if most of you probably aren't even old enough in this room to remember, I did a show many, many years ago called Young Americans. One of you, there you go. It was a WB show. It was actually really beautiful. And it launched the careers of a lot. It was me, Catherine Minnick, Kate Bosworth, Nat Zuckery, Charlie Hunnam. Like, it was a lot of us that sort of springboarded from that show. But it was the first time we used to do these AOL chats. Remember way back then, AOL chats?
What was your screen name?
I don't remember what it was.
Was it like Smolder Eyes, or that wasn't there yet? Or...
I wasn't that cocky yet.
Yeah.
But we used to do these chats online, and we would do them when the episodes aired. And it was the first time in the history of television that they had ever done an interactive fan thing during a viewing of an episode of television. And I remember we used to log on, and there would be 600 people online, and then the number would jump to 2,000, and it would jump to 7,000, and then 20,000 and 67,000. You would just watch it go choo 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 choo. And these are people at home watching TV and then going online and dialing up. Remember dial-up? 56K was the shit, man. This is the 21st century disease now. When you hit your iPhone, you go to load a page and it takes 3 whole seconds. Ugh, man, this signal sucks. I mean, it's like, kids, let me just tell you something. I used to go to load a page, click on it in the morning, go make a cup of coffee, and then come back and it had just finished loading. So, crap, what were we talking about? I just got so
The
sidetracked.
launch.
the
How Lost kind of started it, but
Yes.
then you were saying you did it before in Young Americans.
Golden age of television. We're in it right now. It is a time now where, 22 episode television shows like I'm on, or was on, are about to be a thing of the past. It's too hard, guys. The quality dips, it crushes us. This show, while it's given me so much life, has probably taken 5 years off of my life. No, it's an amazing thing, but we now have this ability to watch all this content whenever we want it. And so you just get to binge watch. And it's a new model that is kind of incredible. And I'm excited. I cannot tell you how excited Nikki and I are to make new stuff as well. And give it to you guys. And hopefully you dig it. Hopefully you dig it.
We're pumped. I can't wait to see what projects.
Yeah, me
It's
too,
gonna be
man.
great.
I promise I'll try not to screw it up.
Hi, Ian. My name's
How you
Sherry.
doing?
First of all, thanks for coming to Columbus.
Hey, thank you. Speak in close. All
Oh,
right.
I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
Well, you've been talking a lot about your production company with Nikki. But what I'm thinking is, since you're going to be finishing Vampire Diaries, are we going to see less of you on screen and more of you behind the camera?
A lot more behind the camera. I love being in front of the camera. And if I was only behind the camera, I would want to volley back to being in front of the camera. It's a really cool, it's a really great way to be able to go back and forth. But right now I'm really excited to explore behind the camera. But the thing that we are about to sell is something that I very much will be in front of the camera. And hopefully she will as well. But it's cool and it's pretty amazing. But yes, being behind the camera is awesome. I love it, and I want to dial it in, man. I mean, it's such an art form. I really want to explore. Filmmakers are who inspire us. Yeah, of course, the characters inspire us. But where do those characters come from? They come from inside the filmmaker's head. And I want to be that person. I want to find that stuff, cultivate it, and marinate it, and produce it. Hopefully you like it. Again, if you don't like it, just don't say anything. Just keep watching.
Well, thank you, but I think I speak for all of us. We're going to miss you, seeing you every week on TV.
Yeah, it's going to be strange. I've thought about that a lot. Remember when you were in school, or those of you who are in school, or you're at work and maybe you get the holiday hits, that first morning when you wake up, you don't have to technically be at work, but you pop up anyway and you think, oh shit, the alarm didn't go off, I'm late. I often think what that's going to be like when we wrap the show, and the first morning I wake up and I don't have to be at work. That is going to be strange. That's going to be strange. Anyway, that little nugget is so cute, man. How old is she? 6 months? So cool. She's so well behaved, man. She's loving her foot right now. It's her first Comic-Con? It's mine too. Exactly. Tell me something. Or ask me, whatever.
In your opinion, what's the saddest episode of the Vampire Diaries?
They're all pretty damn sad. Some of them are heartbreakingly sad, though. Man, remember that scene? It was in the second season. I want to say it was episode 8. I just had this conversation with Marcos about it. When Damon was really sort of freaking out and missing his humanity, and he was laying in the middle of the road, and the poor unsuspecting girl pulls up And it was this sort of catharsis that he has where he just, you know, he couldn't tell anyone, couldn't express even to himself how much he missed just being a person. And it really was just tearing him to bits. And then unfortunately he ate her. But that scene really messed me up for like a couple of days after that. Because a lot of times this stuff is super cathartic, and then a lot of times it muddies the waters in your brain. And I remember thinking, like, oh, how sad is that? This guy is trapped in this world, you know, almost sort of like an addict. I mean, we've all, you know, I know we all have known people who've struggled with like substance abuse, where they don't feel like they can be themselves unless they're under the influence of something. And it's sad to see that, you know, and it tears people's lives apart. And I've known a lot of people like that, and I've seen both sides. But I always felt so bad for this guy because he's funny and he's snarky, and you know, you think he's got it all. He can live forever. He's super loaded. Salvatore boys have a ton of dough, and probably steal it all. But I just thought, man, what a sad life. And that episode was really touched me a great deal. You know, the books, I mean, if L.J. Smith was right here, I would say the same thing. I mean, love her for writing it, but it was written in a voice that I'm a guy, and it didn't speak to me as much as it would have had I lived in the early 90s and I was maybe a female. Women come to me and they say, because there were such great, powerful roles for women. But there was stuff in the book that I wish, because the books there's so much content, we don't really get that much time, 44 minutes on screen, but there were all these scenes of stuff that Damon did that, like, he used to hang out and like on the branches of trees and just chill and watch the town and stuff. But there was one, I don't remember what book it was in. One of the books in the beginning where he just goes shopping. And Damon Salvatore's idea of shopping is walking down the main street, Mystic Falls, and walking into shops and just taking whatever he wants and just compelling all the people. And I want that leather jacket right there. Thank you. And then just walking out with it. And there was this sense of him like just cruising down the street with like a new jacket and a free cup of coffee, and he thought, oh, I went shopping for the day. It's such a twisted sense of reality, but it's been a lot of fun to play this guy for this many years. And I'm really grateful that you guys have been dumb enough to just let me keep doing it.
No, we love it. It's the best. Special.
You guys really rock, man. Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, we are out of time.
Wait, one more. Go.
I was going to say we got one. We
okay,
can do
go.
one more.
I'll shut up.
Last one. No, we love it.
And then there's someone in the ISF. Think behind it. Okay, go.
Okay, hi Ian.
My favorite color is blue. What? Oh, sorry.
Okay, that's not my question. Okay, I've actually never watched Vampire Diaries, so my question is about Lost.
Hey, there you go.
And were you just as confused as we were watching the show? Like, did you guys actually get told what was going on?
I mean, we knew it when we read the scripts.
Okay.
Now it's been so far long ago. I mean, it's like a different life. I don't even... Yeah, I mean, people knew. What was amazing about Lost, here's the crazy thing, is when you have a big show like that, it's like what happened with Vampire Diaries. The best way to keep everyone on your toes is if every character at all times is on the precipice of death.
Yeah, that's for real.
And now going into television now as a producer, I love that model. Because I know how hard it is to rein in actors. And being one myself, I now know the psychology of the actor. I've never seen Vampire Diaries either.
Go watch the Vampire Diaries. That's your assignment. Everyone, give the biggest round of applause for
Hey guys, thank you. Am I going to see you in a photo? No? So what were you going to ask me? Tell me.
I'm going to ask
you whether you liked being heartless and killing and all that stuff better as Damon, or if you liked being like, oh, Bonnie's best friend.
Being Bonnie's best friend is amazing. Honestly, it's a great question because, to be honest with you, it is so much fun being heartless and mean, but I'm just so tired of pumping violence into the world at this point. Like, I feel so bad. I don't know if you guys saw the episode last season, it was like the Fight Club episode where Damon's so bummed he burned the coffin and he just wants to like get hurt. That was an insane 2 nights of shooting where we were just brutally, literally beating the shit out of people. And that's when the Paris attacks happened. It was because it was late in the night. And we were all sitting there, and then I looked at Pascal Boscoris, who's French, who's directing our episode, who's one of our main producers, and you guys should all thank, because he really made the show what it is. And I looked at him and I said, man, I don't want to shoot all this right now. I said, we're so sad when we see all this violence on CNN, and yet we're creating it right now. We're like desensitizing ourselves to violence. Anyway, but great question. I love you all. You guys have been so good to me and to my family and to all of us on this show, and it's really incredible. And our ISF booth here is 136, and my brother Bob is at 705. Go check them out, and it's a really cool thing. I love you guys. Have the best day. I'll see you later. Thank you for wasting your time.
Don't miss the final season of The Vampire Diaries, airing this fall on the CW Columbus.